Welcome to Binge Watchers, where we talk about the stories and characters we love and the shows they live in. My name is Ron. Let's talk about Legends of Tomorrow because I can't seem to stop watching it. Before we get too deep into my weird rant for today, I just wanted to let you know that I created another YouTube channel. Don't worry about Binge Watchers. Binge Watchers is not going anywhere, and I'm definitely gonna keep doing it. I just wanted a place where I could talk about tabletop RPGs because I'm really into tabletop RPGs and I didn't want to bombard this channel with tons of videos about that. So I created another channel called Polyhedron. I'll link to it below if that is something that you're into. Maybe check it out. There are so many good and important shows out there right now that I simply have to watch. Not just because I want to make videos about them, that too, but because I know that they'll give me rich experiences, entertainment, and knowledge. For example, I was a big fan of both seasons of The Sinner, and season 3 is now on Netflix and I need to watch it. And I really want to watch When They See Us and Defending Jacob. On paper, I can't wait to start any of these shows. But I can't, because I can't stop watching Legends of Tomorrow. And it's not to say that Legends isn't an entertaining show, it very much is, but it's also a silly show. It's a silly show. And I watched season 1 a while ago and I thought it was okay, and I made a review for it like 4 years ago, and I haven't watched the show since. Though people have been telling me since that it gets better as you go. And I was like, all right, whatever. I've long since stopped watching The Flash or Arrow, and I didn't even bother with Supergirl. So I don't know what's going on in the whole Arrowverse, so I just let it be. That is, until recently when the world started descending into hell faster than usual. Everything's okay with me and my family. We did have some big things that were supposed to happen that of course got annihilated, but I think that I'm hardly the only one in that situation. And one evening, I started watching season 12 of Doctor Who, one of my favorite shows of all time. And it's been a while because season 11 I thought was okay, but it wasn't great. I loved Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, but season 11 just felt kind of weak, so I took my time getting back to the show. So I started watching season 12 and I liked it. I think it's good, but something was missing. I wasn't really, turning off my brain and having just mindless fun. And I found that I needed that right now. I just needed something easy and purely fun. And Doctor Who, maybe I've just become too attached to the show, but I try to pay attention to everything without even noticing that I'm doing it. And of course, Doctor Who has plenty of campy silliness of its own, but within the framework of crazy logic within the show, the characters still take the situations and themselves pretty seriously sometimes, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong. It's a thing I like about Doctor Who. Doctor Who manages to make crazy, silly situations feel like the stakes are high, but I found that I didn't need high stakes. I found that I needed absurd, high quality, sci-fi time travel fun. And if not Doctor Who, then who? Well, a few weeks ago, I started watching season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow after a 4-year break. And I haven't stopped since. Legends of Tomorrow, it's true that it does get better as it goes along, mostly because it just gets crazier. And the show, of course, does meta, acknowledges it all the time. And making fun of the fact that you're doing something lame and cliche doesn't make it the thing less lame and cliche. But in Legends of Tomorrow, it just goes to prove that, hey, we're just having a good time. We're gonna look good while we do it, and maybe we'll tell you a pretty cool story. Like, there are multiple scenes where a bad guy will give the evil bad guy speech and someone else will make a comment or a joke about him making a mustache twirling bad guy speech. And I think it's the closest the TV show actually gets to the more insane side of actual comic books. I mean, it's still cliche and kind of lame, but I don't know, like also kind of great. And about the stakes being high or not, yeah, I mean, story-wise, it's almost always they're up against something like reality imploding and time folding in on itself and some universe-ending event. So from that perspective, sure, the stakes are high, but they're really not. I mean, there's no system, like they change the actual fabric of reality, but they can still travel back in time to a time from the previous reality because the new reality in the future hasn't hadn't set in yet, so the reality wave didn't reach the past yet. And the following episode, something can happen that would mean that none of that makes sense anymore, that it already doesn't make sense. And why? Well, I mean, because you, that's why. Don't even worry about it. It's like Firestorm is an atomic superhero that on some episodes can transmute massive world-ending bombs into water and wipe out legions of henchmen with fireballs, and on other episodes he just loses a hand-to-hand combat with one person without letting off a single flame, probably because they were running out of like their VFX budget or schedule or something. So it begs the question, why is the show not just bad then? If it does all these things, why does it still work? Well, a few things, I think. One, it's pretty high quality. It looks good, the sets are pretty cool, and the performers, despite what you might think, are actually pretty good. I think it takes a lot to pull off this kind of over-the-top acting and not make it like super cringy to watch. And two, it genuinely feels like they're all having the time of their life being in this show. And it's just fun to watch someone else have fun. And three, they are incredibly creative. They do keep finding ways to have new catastrophic events that are not exactly the same as the thing that they just defeated, sort of. And I kind of like that most of the time, they just go up against themselves. Most of the problem that they deal with were created because something they did. They're a bunch of idiots with a time machine. And whenever they go heavy with the references to pop culture stuff, they nail it. Like there's one episode where they meet Tolkien before he writes any of his books, and the Lord of the Rings references in that episode are just wonderful. And I know it's fan service and it's cheap, but it's fun and it's well made fun. And I guess it's exactly what I need right now. So for now, I'm gonna keep watching this show almost exclusively, though I'm sure that pretty soon I'll come to a point where I just at once stop watching it and like, all right, I've had it with this show, I hate it now. And then maybe I'll wait like 4 more years to pick it back up again. And also it's one of the shows where it is the most fun to try and explain just a random episode to someone who like haven't watched any of the other episodes. Like every now and then my wife would watch an episode of Legends with me and I would try to explain like, no, this guy, well, that's his grandfather, but they're kind of like the same age because he is from the past and he is from like their future. It's not like his future because it's from another reality that they created when they branched off the timeline. Well, they got this relic that is actually magic, and you kind of do that until, you know, one of your heads explode, and it's a lot of fun, and I like it. So what are the shows that you just watch to unwind, have some mindless fun, take your thoughts away from everything? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really interested to know what you're watching. If you're going to be talking about spoilers for any show, please include spoiler tags in your comments. And if you're finding binge watchers for the first time, welcome. I'd like to invite you to join the Binge Watchers community. Come talk about TV with us. It's a lot of fun. Subscribe to the channel. But in any case, keep binging, and I'll see you next time.